This is one of my desires, to speak to you and have this conversation. This is absolutely phenomenal. And I think that's it, right? So looking at external results and then trying to work out how things happen, rather than actually what it is, you've got to go from within, right? It's whatever's within is then going to create the result outside. And I know that you speak a lot about that. So thank you for sharing about that, because what I think as well is that a lot of people, they don't have a big enough one. I think going back to your earlier point around expanding that thinking and thinking big, can you tell us what happens if the want isn't big enough? Because obviously, to use you as an example, like you had your 150K in debt, you had your big job loss, and then something changed, and then you became coachable. And I think there's parts of this that are worth exploring, because your story is just so good.
Well, thanks, Tim. If I look back, I think the thing that changed, I chose into my life. I wasn't just existing anymore. And I put myself out there when I had nothing backing me. So I had to perform, but I chose in to say, at that moment, I really believe my self-image grew significantly the moment that I said no to what was comfortable and said yes to the unknown. And that's where the magic happened for my wife and I. That is when our lives changed, when I really chose into my life. And I chose in to doing what I loved, which when I started studying this, God, I was just so fascinated by it. That's all I wanted to do. But the error I made, Tim, is when I was studying and it wasn't working, is I wasn't acting on the ideas. Bob said a phrase to me. He says, you don't know this, you know about it. All I have to do is look at your results. That was an absolute game changer for me. And I said, that is exactly why I left all that knowledge in my conscious mind, but I never transferred it into action or getting emotionally involved with what I wanted. So that's why, to answer your question, that's why the wants stay small. People are setting their goals or setting their wants based on what they think they can achieve, but there's no inspiration there. There's no growth there. There's absolutely none. I'll tell you a story that really shifted things for me in my thinking. So Bob came to Scottsdale and he was filming. And he had a program called 6 Minutes to Success. And I said to him, I said, can I come watch you film? Anytime I could be around him, especially in the beginning, I was a sponge, And he said, sure. So, this man, at every take, it was one take. I couldn't believe it. It was like I was watching Picasso. And it was so amazing. Anyway, we're at this break, and he was taking a break, and he said, I just achieved my first big goal. And he said, what's your next goal? And I told him, and he didn't like it. And he said, because it wasn't double or triple what I just did. Because I told you earlier, I was worried, can I do it again? Anyway, he looked at me straight in the eyes and he said, this is not a good goal. And I said to him, well, what do you think it should be? And I said, double. And he said, do you trust me? And I said, yes. He said, will you do what I tell you? I said, yes. I remember I had this blank stare and I almost felt sick. And I committed to him that I was going to double my goal. And I walked out of there. Him and I had such a laugh about this years later. And I walked out of there and I achieved that goal in 4 months. Wow. In 4 months, I achieved it. But I really surrendered to the process. Like if I tell you I'm going to do something, it's done. Like no matter what, even back then, if I give him my word, it was a done deal. Like I'm committing to it. Now, I don't know how long it's going to take, but you could take it that I'm going to put my whole heart and put everything into it, because I already saw it once. I just had to put myself on the hook again. And that's when really amazing things come. When you put yourself on the hook and you say, I don't know how it's going to happen, but here's one of the greatest secrets that I discovered. If you set a goal much greater than you, that you really want it, that your want has to be through the roof. If your want is not through the roof, you're not going to get it. Your want has to be through the roof, and you're not going to know what to do next. That's the trick. And you've got to be okay with that. Your spirit's going to know what to do, and it will communicate through your intuition. That's one of our faculties. That's how you'll know the next step. But most people are driven by their intellect. And so their intellect stops them. Their intellect goes into logic. And we want to be illogical. Logic kills more dreams than anything. Logic and doubt, I will tell you this, kills more dreams than any other form. It's greater than fear. Fear is a blessing to us. It gives us feedback of what's going on inside. But when we're using logic, I'll do this when that happens. The whole paradigm is in control, and then the paradigm makes your decisions. Your paradigm sets your goals. And that's why people are setting too small of a goal.